In this tutorial, let's get Eclipse to work with Maven. We have already installed Maven and we have already set up the m3_home. So it's all under tools and it's under Apache Maven. If you drill into this folder, we have already set up the settings.xml file. So we have backed up the settings.xml file to old and we created our own settings.xml file, which we changed the local repository. So our local repository is sitting in ctoolshome.m2 repository. So this is where when Maven downloads things from a remote repository, it will put all our artifacts by group ID into this local repository. And we didn't have to set up any proxy because it's not behind any firewall, but if you're behind the firewall, you need to set up the proxy settings. And also we have specified where our Maven repository is sitting, so Maven knows how to go and where to go and fetch the Maven artifacts. It's in repo1.maven.apache.org/maven2. So if you go back here and go into tools home.m2, you can see the repository. So these are the different, for example, if you want JUnit, it's under the JUnit group ID 4.12. This is where the JUnit jar is. Now to set up Eclipse, let's go inside first, Window and Preferences. So inside Preferences, you can either search for Maven or you will see here one of the options is Maven. So before we look at the Maven, let me quickly go through. You have Java here. You can see install JREs. It shows what version of JRE is installed. This is the one we installed earlier, which is under ctools JDK. And also we can check for the compiler. So we are running Java 8. Now if you go to Maven and you select user settings inside Maven, and then you need to go click on browse and go to your Maven installation and select the settings.xml file. And once you have selected the settings.xml file, it reads the first line and it knows this is where ctoolshome.m2 repository is where the Maven local repository is, and it automatically picks that up. That's all you need to do within Eclipse to set up Maven. So within the Windows preferences, you can also type Maven and it will automatically filter Maven for you. You apply and then go out of there. The next step is to import an existing Maven project. So existing Maven project means project that we built earlier on with the maven mvn archetype command generate. So we did maven archetype generate. We put the -d, which is a Java property argument, group ID equals com.mytutorial, and artifact ID simple maven project. We made the interactive mode to false so that we are not prompted with version numbers and so on. It automatically builds a default maven project for us. And we ran that already in one of the previous tutorials, and inside the projects we have that simple maven project. It's here. You can see the pom.xml file. You can also target folder to save the simple maven project jar file, and also you got a source main Java, which has got a package com.mytutorial, and we created this hello world Java, and the app.java was automatically created by the maven archetype plugin. And also it created a test, and inside the test it has app.testjava. So the maven created this as well as part of the archetype when we ran the archetype generate. Now let's go and import this into Eclipse. So if you go and look at the POM file, that's what it says. The group ID is com.mytutorial. Artifact ID is simple maven project. Packaging is, it has to be packaged as a jar. Then there's a version number. And then we had a dependency on JUnit And I think Maven automatically put in 4.19, so we upgraded that to 4.12 as the Maven version number. Now you go in here to import a Maven project into Eclipse. You go File, Import, and then there's an option called Maven here. Inside that you select existing Maven projects and then go Next, and you browse and select that project. So we're going to see Projects, Simple Maven project. We select that project and automatically highlight the pom.xml file. POM stands for Project Object Model. So pom.xml file is where you specify how to manage and how to build a Maven project. So each Maven project will have this pom.xml file. So you go and click on Finish, and here we go. We have created a simple Maven project. Now, see, all the other projects were not Maven, so it only had J for Java project. This one, in addition to J, you will also see a capital M there, indicating that this is a Maven project. Now, if you go and select here, you can see the pom.xml file, and you can see the artifact that we created inside source main Java. This is a Maven structure. So Maven will always have your Java files, source files inside the source main Java folder structure. Then com.mytutorial is the package, and under that you have different artifacts. Similarly, you will have the source test Java, and under that you have a package com.mytutorial. Now I can right click on it and then say run as Java application, and my first Java code from a Maven based Java project. That's the output. And if you look at the app.java, this is a very simple Java source code that was generated by the Maven archetype plugin, and also it has created a very simple test for this as well, to unit test this particular class. So you can run a unit test as right click on it and run as JUnit test. So you select the JUnit test and say run as JUnit test, and see it will automatically open another view here called JUnit, and it has run the test and the test has passed. The next step, you can build your jar inside Maven. So what we need to do now is select the simple project, right click on it, and then here say run as, and then you need to select Maven install. So before we ran the Maven command outside Eclipse, now here we can run it inside. So I have run the Maven install command and it has built a jar file, and you can see the jar file inside the target folder, and this is what just got built. Simple Maven project 1.0 snapshot jar. In the POM file you can see what version it builds, so you can manage those versions inside the POM XML itself. So you open a pom.xml like here. This is a very handy wizard or template where you can look at it like this, and also you can select the pom.xml here. You can view it as a source. So this is the XML file, and 1.0 snapshot is the version. You can also look at the overview as shown before. It says the group ID, artifact ID, what type of package it's going to build. So obviously jar file, because we selected jar file, but there are other options. It can be a WoW file, ER file, or it can be a POM file itself. And you can see the parent, there's no parent defined here. Modules, we haven't defined modules and properties. So once a POM file gets more complex, you will have an ER or WoW file having multiple modules. The modules can be jar files inside a WoW file, and then you will see these modules and all populated. But we earlier saw some kind of a recursive dependency. For example, if you look at JUnit jar, it has got dependency on ham crust core.jar. So this dependency hierarchy is very handy in seeing which jar brought in the other jars. For example, your project might be directly depending on just 2 jars, but those 2 jars will be in turn dependent on 5 or 6 other jars. So you will end up with, say, 10 jars. So if you look at here, on the left hand side, inside the maven dependencies in Eclipse, it will tell you these are the 2 jars. So we only specifically mentioned JUnit 412 jar in our POM file, but maven has gone and looked at this POM file of the JUnit and said, okay, I need ham crust core as well, and it has brought in both these jars. Now if I want to see here which brought in which, if I type in now ham crust, you can see here the JUnit jar, and it hierarchically shows the JUnit has brought in the ham crust. So in your POM file you only dependent on JUnit, but the JUnit in turn has brought in ham crust. So when you have hundreds of jar files and you don't know who is bringing which jar, this screen is very handy to see the hierarchy, what brought in. And there are some cases where if you have jar conflicts, Maven allows you to exclude a jar that has been brought in by another jar. So you can do some kind of a conflict resolution with the help of this dependency hierarchy window. Another useful window is the effective POM. So having the POM.xml is one thing, but the effective POM will say effectively what POM was applied. So you can have some kind of a hierarchical structure in POM that get resolved into some kind of effective POM. And also it might look at the settings.xml file. So for example, in this case, the effective POM has got the JUnit, which we have already specified in the pom.xml file. And also it has brought in the repositories and the repository from the settings.xml file to tell us that it has gone and fetched our resources from this location. So this is for the normal repository for the releases, and also for the plugins it has used the same repository as well. So that's what the effective POM gives you. Now we can also go into simple Maven project, right click on it and then say run as JUnit test or Maven test, and you will see it will run the Maven command and it has executed those tests, the app.java, and the app inside the test we have app.test.java. So it has run the app.test.java and it said the test has passed and it's success. So you can run any Maven command that you can run outside within Eclipse by right clicking on it, bringing the context menu, run as, and then selecting the Maven options. Now let's go and create a new Maven project from within Eclipse itself. So until now we just already had a Maven project created from DOS command line with the Maven archetype command. Now we will, and then we imported that into Maven, but now we will go and create a new Maven project inside Eclipse itself. So in order to do that, let's select on File, New, and then select this project with the ellipses. Select the project with the ellipses. It comes up with this wizard, and then here you need to, under Maven, you need to select Maven project. Then go next. Use default workspace. So let's create it inside the default workspace itself. And then we go next. And it's asking you what archetype to use. So let's select the quick start. So Maven-archetype quick start. And then we select next. And then here it's using com.mytutorial as a group ID. Let's give it an artifact ID. So I'm going to call it what is in here. It's, I think it's a beginner project 1. So I'm going to call it my project 1 and then click on finish. Then here you go, this is your my project 1 Maven project. It got the symbol M to say it is a Mavenized Java project. So it's a Java project and which has got Maven influence to build, run tests and so on, package it up and so on. So now you can see the very skeleton structure. It got the source main Java. This is the Maven stipulated structure. So Maven is all about convention over configuration. So basically you follow a certain convention and Maven will supply with all the plugins, all the functionality you need to build your application. So source main Java here. It is sort of com.mytutorial.myproject1. It is created a sample application and source test Java. You got to create this package and it has created something inside that. And also in the Maven dependencies, it automatically brought in the JUnit jar. And then obviously it has got a pom.xml file as well, because all Maven projects need to have a pom file. And then if you want to package this, you can right click on it, run as, and then do Maven install. So your Maven command is getting run here. Running the tests, it has compiled it, running the test, and it has built the jar file. Now you go into your file browser. Inside the workspace, you will see my project 1, which is a Maven structure, source, main, Java, and so on, test. And also we can go and check inside the C tools home. This is where our local Maven repository is. Go to M2 repository and we call it com, the group ID, my tutorial, and then you can see simple Maven project that we created earlier, and now you can see my project 1. So when you call Maven clean install, basically it not only packages it as a jar file inside your target folder, but also installs it into your Maven local repository. So it has gone into my Maven local repository with the group ID of com my tutorial and artifact ID of my project 1. Inside that it has created a version called 0.0.1 snapshot version, and inside that you have your jar file. This is the jar file. So let's now go and create another Maven project outside Eclipse. So I'm going to run the Maven inside the projects folder, Maven archetype generate. The group ID is same, com.mytutorial, but the artifact ID is my project 2. And if I run this, I had to run the environment setup, so make sure that Maven is set up. So CLS now change directory to projects. Run the same command again. So you can say it's running the archetype plugin, generating project in batch mode. It has downloaded a few artifacts like plugins, everything from the repo1 maven apache org, which you have specified this URL in the settings.xml file. And now it has gone and created a basic Mavenized Java project. So now if I go into C projects, and here we got our my project 2. You can see the pom file, same structure, source main Java. Inside that you got the package com my tutorial, and it has created a simple app.java. Now I can go in again and bring in this project file, import existing Maven project. Next, go in here and select the my Maven project. Selected my project 2, okay, It has already discovered the pom.xml file, because which always sits at the my project to folder level itself. And then I can go and select finish. My maven project 2 is there. You got an M there. It's a mavenized project. You can see source main Java, source test Java. Then it got maven dependencies. Is it just a jinit jar? It always brings it in by default. And then we should be able to run this application like the other ones. That's all for now for this Eclipse with Maven tutorial.